Hello, YouTube peers, and welcome to a new episode of What Did You Miss? So today we have 10 highlights. I played World of Final Fantasy 3 times this week. I played Super Mario Maker 2 twice. We only have 3 highlights for Super Mario Maker 2, and they were only from Sunday because yesterday I really was taking it easy, and the only thing really to show was I was drawing on people's courses. I did play a level or 2 or 3, but nothing really noteworthy, so I didn't make a highlight at all for yesterday, for Mario Maker at least anyway. We do have a different highlight from yesterday when I was playing another game that was definitely not as intense as a platformer would be. Anyway, yeah, I was not feeling well, and I'm still actually not feeling particularly good, but I am definitely feeling better than I was yesterday. But anyway, today's my day off. Today's the day to record, so let's get this started. So, we've got, we also played some Feria and some Mystery Chronicle 1 Rogues. I would like to comment that, at the moment, the games that people are actually watching me play are mostly just Feria, Mario Maker, and Levelhead. That's about it. And I have to say, I am, at the moment, a bit disappointed, because I've been hoping to bring some Mario Maker players, or Levelhead players, over to Feria, and vice versa, bring some Feria players over to these games. But, unfortunately, it seems like there's just not much overlap within the communities, not much potential for people to like the same kind of games. If it's Levelhead and Mario Maker 2, that's one thing, but you start looking at other genres, like card games and stuff, then it starts getting pretty sketchy, so... oh well. I'm definitely sort of tempted to just stop streaming RPGs at the moment. I feel like it would just improve my growth, but maybe I'll stream Pokemon. But I don't know, then I would have to actually buy it, so not sure how much I would enjoy the new Pokemon. I've heard a lot of divisive stuff about it. Honestly, it doesn't really look like it'd be that much fun. Anyway, I definitely liked Pokemon Black and White, and I haven't technically played a newer Pokemon game since, so I have no reason to assume that I wouldn't like it, but at the same time, I feel like maybe I wouldn't like it, but who knows. Anyways, but yeah, so after I'm done playing World of Final Fantasy, we might play some Pokemon on stream as well, and if Pokemon doesn't do well for stream whatsoever, then I can just stop streaming RPGs altogether at that point, I guess. Anyway, so let's start looking at some of these highlights. So at the beginning of the week or so, I was playing World of Final Fantasy. It's called World of Final Fantasy Maxima, but this category doesn't actually have an icon, so sometimes I stream this under World of Final Fantasy. It actually has a picture, of the category. So basically, we were just talking about stuff, about what's gonna happen, blah blah blah. So we actually have to defend a bunch of towns. It reminds me a little bit of the defending towns in Bravely Default 2. But basically what happened was, so last time on World of Final Fantasy, our characters fulfilled the Crimson, or we could also call it the Red Prophecy. And when that happened, it basically somehow or another gave the King of Bahamut more power. And with that more power, he was able to summon a bunch of machine monster things to invade our lands. And so now we're busy defending them, and they're playing a bunch of mini games to do that. Some, like this one in particular, do not really make much sense. And you actually fight some things that you fought before in the past, potentially. I recognize Omega from playing Final Fantasy 13 Part 2, but it was originally some sort of like a random rare encounter in one or two of the old games. So, and then there's this guy from Final Fantasy 7, the Ultima weapon, except he's different. He's not. This one's like kind of more like Ultima weapon from Final Fantasy 7, but mixed with like an Ultima weapon from Final Fantasy 10. So I guess they were really divided on the art direction for this one, and that's what they ended up coming up with. Personally, I think he might be a little bit too purple, but other than that, I guess he looks okay. I do think I like the original Final Fantasy 7 monster more. The original Final Fantasy 7 monster is actually intended to be some sort of guardian. You end up fighting a bunch of these guardians, which was wrong. But anyway, I feel like there were more mechs that we fought too. But there's this one. This one we were joking about it looking like an insect. That one, as you can imagine, did not take very long. Like, these battles were kinda on the easy side generally. And I did some side quests too, I guess. Like fighting Hyperion. And I just experimented with the flying around on the world map with the airship. Basically there are some merc rifts you can access, so that's probably what I'll be doing this week as I play this game. We'll probably visit some of the merc rifts and get some of the monsters inside those, capture those monsters. Anyway, not much else to show off really. So next highlight we got here, same day, was Feria. So basically I started out at rank 10 and I got to 8. I was pretty much playing this flying deck the whole time. I don't think I even made any changes to it. Only ended up playing for like an hour and a half, so I didn't have enough time to really gain more ranks, I suppose. But I suppose my win rate was kind of okay. Let me turn up the speed. I'll just let this run for a little bit. Right now I'm listening to YouTube music. This particular set of songs is from Heroes of the Storm. Let's go ahead and skip to the next song. That one's a little bit too fast. I don't actually want to listen to it. I'm just going to remove that one. I'm going to make a new playlist. I don't like this song either, somehow. Oh, this one's alright. Warcraft 2. So my first one of the day bumped me up to 9, thankfully, with bonus stars. Obviously, this is like a Heroes of the Storm remix of the song. Apparently, I had to go AFK for a bit. I think I lost this game, if I remember right. It was really frustrating too. Because he had so many dash creatures. To be fair, like, I might have been able to win, but I think I conceded. I shouldn't have last nightmared that. I should have Chokutan. Oh no, I remember this one now. But Chokutan lost me the game. Never mind. I was probably thinking of a different game. I said I conceded when I should have. This is a game where literally not chucking Sandy, and that guy lost me in the match. I feel really dumb about it. My thought process was I was gonna use a cheaper spell for a cheaper creature, but it just honestly that thinking didn't really make sense. Shouldn't have done it. Anyway, he just barely squeezed out like more Faria than or more Faria efficient plays than I was able to. It just overwhelmed me. His aggression. This match started off very differently. As you can see, I have a very strong position right now in this game, so I probably end up winning this one. I would be surprised if he doesn't concede. He's playing more stuff. Starting to step on his lands a bit. Oh yeah, I replay as Rapala, because why not? And step on his lake, so he has to make a new lake. So why not? Why wouldn't you step on his lake? There. This one's a nice long one. Here's another match. It's probably against the same green player from last time. Oh, this might be a match that I concede. He keeps using shamanic damage to keep his creatures alive, which is pretty annoying. But I'm low on Faria right now. You know what I could have done here? Done +1 Faria and played Varunian's Messenger, but instead I decided to kill him with Choking Sands, which I guess was okay because it got him to concede. So. I think he was trying to jump on my desert, so that way I wouldn't be able to deploy to my own desert. As you can see, I didn't end up letting that happen. Gotta go ahead and fast forward to the next game, I guess, or two. I guess he's been nuking my creatures. Because neither of us have very much Faria right now. I know we got a decent number of lands out. I don't actually remember this game. I didn't know if this was such a good idea, but I went ahead and did it anyways. I figure even if just one of them touches his lands, it's a good thing. But I'm leaving myself open to a lot of count. At the same time, I'm still like harvesting at both wells, so I think it's decent to try to force him to scramble to deal with these guys before they go out of control. Because it's like he's trying to go into position to double harvest, and if I can deny him double harvesting, because he has to deal with these, then that puts me ahead in the long run, I figure. But if he can find a way to do everything all at once, well, more power to him, which I think he's actually able to do. I think this might be one of the players that beat me that day, maybe. Because he plays that thing, and I guess he plays a whole bunch of cheap things, one after the other, like a bunch of cost-efficient stuff. And the taunt is very troublesome, because I don't have a way of eliminating it. If I'd Chokied Sands right now, that would be amazing, but I don't. Maybe I should have done a draw. In any case, I am moving into position to deal with this tier 2. So maybe it's okay? Yeah, I don't know. I was planning on killing this 2-4 with my 4-3, as you can see. Which means my 3-3 would kill his 2-2. But he still has 5 Farrier to mess up my plans. I don't know what he's planning on doing. He could, for example, flame burst my 3-3 that's close to his 2-2, and that would mess up my plans. He actually took a really long time with his turn, huh? So he shrunk my creature and then kills it with his taunt, and then he transforms my other guy. So at this point, I just like, okay, well, I could still defeat both of your creatures though, so I might as well do that while I'm double harvesting. Now I'm the one with the Varia, and I think it's at this point when he concedes. I guess he figured he needed to do something rather than nothing. Yeah, sometimes Frogify just doesn't work out the way you would like it to. So his 5-7 could actually take a hit from both of these guys. So he's technically still in the game, but he is playing from behind, so I can understand him not wanting to play from behind. But that was a little bit too early to throw in the towel, in my opinion. But anyway. Like, his Spring Mochi made that thing cheaper, which helped keep him in the game. But, so next match, let's go ahead and skip forward a little bit, I guess. Actually, maybe there's not much to skip forward to, because, oh, never mind. Well, I guess the preview's broken. So I think I nuked one of his creatures, maybe, and then decided to step on his land. He's playing Rakoans. And now this is where I might potentially be making a mistake, I'm not sure. Because if I build a land next to my well, that theoretically allows him to dash onto it from a new land of his own. But he's playing Rakoans, and since he's playing Rakoans, maybe he doesn't have dash, generally, because Rakoans don't have it, and he probably wouldn't have a tech card. I don't know. Yeah, so maybe this isn't a mistake that I'm doing. But maybe that's only because I'm playing against a Rakoan deck. If it was a regular green deck, maybe it would be a problem, because green have a lot of dashers. This is where it starts to get pretty interesting. He's starting to play more creatures. At the moment, he seems to have... Okay, so I'm able to deny his harvesting rather than attacking his orb. I don't have enough for last nightmare for 7/7, but a 7/7 can't exactly take out my 5/4 right now anyways. So I'm not in a tough spot really. Obviously if he were to generate a land in between the forest and that plains, then he could use a tower to charge it into the well and then attack it. I'm actually thinking about building a deck that has like the yellow tower that like gives a creature charge for the turn. It's like charge 2 or 3, I think it is. It's really cool. So at this point I have a few options. I can try to fight the 4/5 with a 5 whatever with the emissary. Alternatively I could last nightmare the 7/7, but the 7/7 isn't really threatening anybody right now. He's not threatening to harvest, he's not threatening my orb or any of my creatures. So apparently I decided to set up some harvesting, and because I'm the only one harvesting this way, I can just take out his creature. And I get 3 fairy at base just for my turn, so I have plenty for last nightmare if I need to use it. This is an interesting situation, so he actually swallows his own creature. With charge 2, we cannot reach my orb, and he can't go to any wells other than the ones on the right. So I set up for double harvesting in order to start making more fairy that I'll need for last nightmare. I think it's pretty safe to say I've got this one in the bag at this point. Let's go ahead and skip ahead a little bit, because he doesn't have any cards in his hand right now. Or he actually spent a turn or two just drawing, I guess. So now I have to start dealing with the stuff that he's played. So yeah, I had a Sky Captain played, so that way I could start buffing some of my other creatures. I might have made a mistake at some point here or another. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think I forgot to move my 4/4 and attack with it, perhaps. But anyways, we ended up winning despite the mistake. But whatever the case, it worked out, kinda. Okay, so this was an interesting match. The guy plays double fire elemental, which is quite intimidating because with that 5 attack, they can pretty much kill anything else that anybody would play early. Anything in my deck that's not buffed, it would kill. Like, they one-shot my Windborn champion, so... And that's pretty messed up. Obviously, they don't have very much hit points, though, so you just take him out with a simple Soul Drain spell. I'm not sure if this version of the deck even has Soul Drain. It probably doesn't. It does have Choking Stance, though, but you can't exactly sideboard against this stuff, you know what I mean? It would be cool if sideboards existed, but whatever. Actually, there is a card game that I have been playing online that does give you sideboards, and I don't mean Magic the Gathering. Or at least the old version did. I haven't tried the new version. I assume it's pretty good. So, oh yeah, I made some mistakes this match too. I'm not sure what was going through my head at various points. I was trying to block this guy. I guess I sacrificed my 5/3 unnecessarily. Then he starts creeping towards my orb, and that gets really weird really fast, and he starts double harvesting time on, which is upsetting. So he starts double harvesting for a decent period of time and starts swarming me. He uses a Recocopter, which triggers me, understandably. Helicopters are really. Now he's setting up the double harvest, so I figure I'm gonna have to do the same. I'm doing a decent job of defending at the moment, but who knows how long that'll last. Oh, this is interesting. So he has a 5-4 over there. And I'm able to take it out immediately before he can step on my desert to convert it to his own cause. So this was a really clutch play that I needed. The top deck of the Windborn Champ. And now the Windborn Champ can go take out his 3-3 and stop him from double harvesting. So that puts me in a much stronger position, particularly with him without having cards in his hand. So he's got some small guys that he can use to sort of swarm the wells. So he's sort of kind of making a comeback, but he still needs brute force in order to actually pull off a win. He does pick up a cipher eventually here, which is relatively threatening. I believe I deal with it by just confronting him with multiple Manta Riders, because there's creatures that have the stats of a Manta Rider, like the Windborn Emissary. Because with a stat line like that of 5-3, it's going to be hard for him to trade perfectly. As a Cipher, he's basically immortal if he trades perfectly. But if you give him imperfect trades, then you can definitely defeat him. What I mean by that is he wants to defeat things that have, like, the same health that they have attack. Anything that has more attack than health, he doesn't actually want to attack. Because if he attacks enough of those things, and the numbers are against him like that, he's eventually going to die. But yeah, he gains the attack and the health stat of whatever he attacks, so... or whatever attacks him, also. So he's able to take out, like, the bigger part of, like, 2 of my creatures. But I'm willing to sacrifice them in order to get his attack power off the board, basically. He's got Corrupt here with the wheel, which is interesting. So I decided to block. I don't want him standing right on my orb. Let's go ahead and fast forward a bit. So I deploy something new there. So I'm able to step on his land thanks to those guys' game text, the Sky Guard, whatever they're called. He's using Wrath of Ignis, which is definitely a little bit concerning, but somehow I managed to not roll me getting screwed completely. Or he rolls me not getting completely screwed. Because that was really scary. Did you see those 2 of those creatures survived with 1 hit point? Which is kind of a big deal. He doesn't have that many cards in his hand, but he's able to pull up a Helicopter and Cypress Wrath, which is allowing him to take out my creature trying to double harvest. Fortunately for me, I still have something else to attack with. It looks like he's going to try to go on the offense again. Not sure what his plan with that is overall, but... So I start doing +1 Faria, because I obviously need it, because I'm not harvesting at the moment. And this creature can't even move into position to harvest. Unless I had something that actually allows him to move bonus time. So yeah, just 1 more hit and he's done for. He uses Wrath of Ignis. Takes out my creature. But at least he's out of Faria now. Now we're both at 5 hit points. I play a 4-cost 5/5. Yay. Go Sky Captain! And then this is a cute moment. He just plays a little yak. and I just nuke it with my Spirit Theft. That might have been the last interesting game that day. That might, yeah, I think that was the last game I played. Alright, so that's Feria. Probably play it more than one day this week, maybe, I don't know, we'll see. We're definitely playing it tomorrow. Tomorrow is the Friday, that is the day that I play Feria. Alright, let's just go through these highlights chronologically here, as far as whatever was saved next. We'll worry about when things happened later. I don't care that much. It's just about whatever highlights got finished compiling or whatever. Anyway, so these champion jewels made getting through this dungeon not that tough. So this was me. I guess this is, you could say, is like the final dungeon of the game up until when you get the ending. Or no, this was the next dungeon. Oh, this one was really annoying. I hated this dungeon. I kept encounters off for most of this because I was gonna lose my mind because I was getting lost. This was absolutely diabolical what they were doing. Like, it was hard to read where the paths were in this area, and you had to like move up and down and around buildings. It was crazy, and it was there were also teleporting things, which made it even more complicated. The teleporting things would take you backwards, so I wasn't sure if they were taking me backwards or not. It took me a while to figure out what was happening. Anyways, obviously I was reconsidering what I want to do with my studies, blah blah. Looks like I maybe was doing some side questing, T-Girls room, talking to Chocolate to buy some items. Eventually we get far enough, we're actually activating story elements. We have to fight these lackeys or goons or minions, whatever you're gonna call them. And then story stuff happens. Probably don't want to spoil it for you guys, but there's some really big stuff happens. And so the next highlight would be Super Mario Maker. We've got 3 of those in a row. So basically we have me playing John Numbers map 1 and 2. So this is map 2, it's a desert map. So he's got a Super Mario World map with Yoshi, which was pretty cool. He also had like some, I think it might have been on this level, as well as maybe one other one on this map. He was having us collect like these big gems. He would have like, I think he had like a 10 coin, and then above the 10 coin he would have like a 30 coin. And so the 10 coin was relatively easy to get, but the 30 coin was a little bit tricky. So I was able to get the 30 coin each time, which was pretty cool. So I really liked that mechanic of his with the optional challenges. And we had this level, which I believe I played before. It was okay. It had like these blue tracks and spikes and stuff, and it was pretty scary. I was able to beat it in the end. Not sure if I ever touched the top of the goal in that level. I'm gonna have to make that be like a personal goal at some point. I don't know. Then we had this level, which I don't think I've played this one yet. Yeah, this was a relatively easy level. And then later, this was 3D World. I liked it because there's 3D World, 3D World style. But I think a lot of these levels I gotta revisit and do the optional challenges, and that may include this one. Oops. But I got the 50, even though I missed some of them, so I felt pretty good about that at least. You could use your boxes to get to the top level if you wanted. You just don't think too hard about the top of the goal unless it's like a super world or maybe like it's a 3D world level. Since I was 3D world and super world, then I definitely thought about touching the top level. I mean, just now I thought about it, not necessarily while I was playing. This level is pretty wild. I don't think I'd played it before. It's basically an elf suit course, you know, Link, Zelda, whatever you call it. As far as Link courses go, it was okay. Nothing really noteworthy about it, I would say. Other than maybe like the bonus challenges might have been similar to that other level. Which, if that's the case, that's really cool design, of course, but it's not anything special about it being a Link level, really. I think. Actually, I don't think this was that level, but maybe it was. Anyway, oh yeah, so there's like this kind of speed run that you're supposed to do to get the red coin, which I managed to do. I don't think I got every red coin, so I wasn't able to go into the exit. Oh yeah, there was one exit in particular that I think it was earlier. I think it was before this one that I wanted to go through the red pipe to get to the ending. I think this one had something like that too. Looks like it was too slow for that speedrun. I think it's kind of cool that even if you didn't find the secret ending, you still potentially had like another way to get to the top of the goal. So that was pretty cool, even though I failed it. So I definitely appreciated that one. Really good design choices, I think, there. And then this level, I believe, was the last one. This was one that I had played before. There's not a whole lot to talk about here. This is a pretty good level. It's a 3D world. It's got some underground in it. Which is a beautiful tile set, blah, blah, blah. Alright, let's check out the next highlight. So then we had map 1, which may have had a red pipe exit that I wanted to check out again. This first level I didn't really like all that much, really. I think it felt too generic. Outside of having switches, there was nothing else to it. Then we had this one. This was the good one. This is the one that I liked on this map. This is the one that I wanted to do over again to get to the special ending. This is the level where I first saw that. Okay, so it probably wasn't 10. This is where I first saw like the 10 and 30 coin setup that I was mentioning earlier, I think. It had a bunch of fancy stuff in it. Lots of head scratching moments. This level too. Actually, this level was quite a bit harder. This is the first time I died, but I don't think I necessarily died because it was hard. It just died because I wasn't playing well. But this level definitely has some hard stuff in it, including apparently the optional challenges are hard because I just screwed myself over for this optional challenge by breaking that block. Because my thought process was there would be something inside the block, because I thought it was just a regular block. I had no way of assuming that it was just a coin block. So basically, I could have chosen to start that level over again to try to do that correctly, but instead I started it over for a different reason, apparently, because I don't remember getting past that part. I guess I thought about doing it, and then I changed my mind partway through. I'm not sure what made me change my mind, but, no, apparently I tried all of that, and then what? Oh, and then I guess I went the wrong way. I had no way of knowing I was supposed to go down to the P-switch. Oh, although I guess there's something fancy going on over here, which I didn't fully understand and necessarily solve what I was supposed to be doing here. It seems like you want to like use trampolines to get up to where there's like a door or pipe or something, and I wasn't able to do it. So that was kind of frustrating. I'm like, you know what, this is way too hard. I don't want to do this stuff. So I left. Yeah, so that's kind of what happened to this level. It's a pretty interesting level though. I'm all for making side quests be like insanely hard. More power to you if find that stuff and do it yourself. That's awesome. So I was like messing around with some various things, wondering, not knowing if it's what you need to do to continue the level or not. And it took me a while to figure out I was supposed to use those trampolines, one each for one of those green pipes. Because I knew it's like possible to do a boomerang jump up here and get up on this platform where the Strive Bones is, but I kept messing up the jump. I think I eventually get it though, before actually completing the level. Anyways, I was experimenting with a new camera angle here, as you can see. But yeah, that jump doesn't quite get me over the pipe, so. And I started trying to figure out, okay, how do I get a trampoline up there then? And the answer is you could do it by doing the tough boomerang jump, but not necessarily something I want to spend time doing. So there's probably an easier solution. And so I figured out what the solution was, and it was that. So yeah, I didn't want to repeat of me being dumb and not being consistent for like another couple minutes, so I just did that. And then we had this level. I kind of didn't really like this one, but it was mostly just because of the music. I just feel like I played too many SMW ground house levels. I feel like I could have used a second zone that we go into immediately and hang around for a while, not to experience that music as much. I really do appreciate the underground music in Mario Maker, or Mario World. And Castle is pretty good. Ghost House, as long as it's not nighttime, is good as well. Anyway, so we had the last level for the first map, and it was a castle, and you get a cape, which is pretty powerful, and I was definitely doing a lot of goofing off. I think the cape's pretty much optional for the entire level. But, you know, there's going to be, like, some challenges that you might need the cape for that you don't necessarily have to do to beat the level, and I was definitely looking for stuff like that and playing around in general. I was thinking maybe there would be an invisible block underneath that yellow pipe, but I came to the conclusion, since there wasn't one, that it's probably just an exit pipe. So yeah, I figure use my cape and I can disable those guys, which allows me to take a look around a little bit more. This took a while. Like, I wanted to go into this pipe, so I managed to do it. I had to use this guy, is what I figured. And this got a little bit interesting because he's kind of stuck in that corner at the moment, but I'm able to get him out by jumping past him. So we got him to blow up an entrance, so now I have to go over there. I might as well knock him down with more space. See, this bother me. Then we have this area, which is kind of scary because I'm pretty sure you can get squished by those trampolines if you're not careful. So it's a weird choice for a bonus room, if you ask me. Whatever. Nobody accused his side quests of being easy. At least I certainly. Oh my goodness. So we made it to the end, and that's the end of that map and the end of the highlight. And we'll be back to playing some more John Super World later. And we have a highlight of me playing a hashtag DGR level. I like to do these sometimes. There isn't much to talk about here. I started scrolling through, looking at comments, blah blah blah. I started taking this extremely seriously, and to be honest, I think I collected way more coins than I was really supposed to. But the thing of it is, because it says you collect at least, I have no idea how many coins are in the course. As it turns out, I would say there was probably at least 1,250 coins, if not as much as I don't know, 1,500 or so. I don't know. I'm not quite sure exactly how many there were, but there were a lot. So I didn't really need to collect like all 30 from that first pipe, as I thought like I might. So I didn't really need to spam start over here at the beginning, but I didn't know that going into it. Anyway, let's skip ahead for a while. So there's cat suits in this level. There's quite a few of them, really. There's some areas where you're expected to take damage, and some areas where it's not really a deal breaker if you do. It took me a little bit to realize how to get underneath that. It's not really that hard. I thought it was going to be harder than it actually was, so I like over prepared, and like the over preparation was entirely a mistake because I goofed it. But anyway, just over preparing itself would have killed me. This was funny because I was getting scared of those big ones following me, and I didn't notice quite the ring like being able to hit me when it was able to. But there are forgiveness spells here, so apparently it's not really a problem. Anyways, there's like some surprises. This section is actually pretty challenging and kind of fun. I liked this part. This part was pretty good. See, I was doing this hopping backwards thing because as a cat, you cannot collect the coins one space off the ground. And I was just trying to hop because at this point I still don't know how many coins are in the level, so I'm still trying to collect every single coin, even though I don't really need to do such things. So now that I've beat it once, I definitely beat it much, much faster. Probably even beat the Maker's Clear check time, I would imagine, on like the first attempt. Now that I know where all the coins are, pretty much. If not my first, then definitely my second. Like, definitely, like, even if I beat it his time, there's still gonna be room for optimization, for sure. I was trying to be extra safe here. I was pretty sure the correct answer was the middle, judging by the previous patterns. The middle was generally the correct answer, but there was one time where middle was not an option because there was an even number of options. So because of that, I decided to not take any chances on the middle option. Then we had this fight with Meowser, which is kind of stressful, I guess, because you could fall through and die. As long as you don't lose your cat, it's unlikely that's going to happen. Unfortunately, I somehow, while I was holding onto a POW, managed to get hit by a big fireball, and I became small. That was definitely a concern. We're at a clear condition, so I'm not allowed to get hit one more time. So I was definitely pretty stressed out at this point. This is before me playing Map 2 of John's Super World, just for the record. They didn't have any viewer levels, so this is the only thing I could think to play. It's just a random first clear attempt. This is what I did. I have more than enough coins, so I'm done collecting those. I'm just scouting out the top of the room because I don't want to go immediately into the door in case the correct option is something else. Because it's like, I'll lock the door, but I see the goal has a warp block, so I'm supposed to go into the warp block, so just making sure there wasn't a warp block. Because if there was, then I would have preferred to have gone into it, I would think. Unless, of course, it did me to death anyways. There's a different warp block I was supposed to go into, but that's... Anyway. I digress. Let's move on to the next highlight. The level was not particularly trolly, to be honest, but it was pretty difficult. Anyway, I think that's what he meant by easy things. It's not a hashtag DTR, because you didn't make it impossible, you just made it hard. Anyway, we have another World of Final Fantasy highlight. This was after the sad ending. So, at this point, we're basically like doing side quests, I guess, kind of. I'm not sure exactly how this works, but I believe our characters want us to capture like Diablos, Leviathan, like Ramu and those guys. They want us to capture all those guys, so I end up capturing Leviathan. So I fought him, and then kind of, aside from like reading things, it was not really much happening. Besides me fighting Leviathan, and the Leviathan fight was kind of boring. And just attack with lightning, keep my team healthy. Attack with lightning, keep my team healthy, and so on until I win. Honestly, the battle system is getting pretty boring for World of Final Fantasy, which is unfortunate. But what are you gonna do? A lot of RPGs end up getting kind of boring at some point. Even Final Fantasy IV was really not that exciting. Although, what did make Final Fantasy IV pretty decent, though, overall, was the fact that there was at some point, like, a little bit of a challenge in wrapping your head around what kind of strategy to use, but I do think that they kind of required you to, like, level up too much, more than they should have. Like, you shouldn't have needed to level up as much as you did. In this particular game, I'm not sure how important leveling up is, since that's particularly important. Anyway, I was trying to go really far with this run here in One Way Heroics on this highlight, and then there isn't a whole lot to say. I did pretty good generally, but I guess I should have started avoiding the skeletons. Another thing I should have maybe considered doing is bring in gravity shield or armor or whatever, because gravity shield or armor prevent the skeleton archers from just deleting me. Because like sometimes, depending on the situation, like if there's like a wall, a mountain or something, they start knocking you over. It's like things get really weird. Like you can't go over the mountain because you don't have good climbing ability as a knight. You don't have good climbing ability. You're gonna lose turns, and you're gonna get defeated by the wall. I'm gonna show you guys this. So, so here's some right here. So I'm fighting these guys. So they can push you. See if you don't defeat them fast enough, and they also can shoot you at a range. So you do have to get close to them. And once you get close to them, they knock you back. So it's extremely tricky to fight with them. And you can see I'm looking at this mountain. Things are really weird. And see, we're close to the barrier on the left, which we can't have that. And it's like, I need to sidestep, but I kind of can't. Oh, yeah, actually, you know what I should have done? I should have moved to the right just now. Because I could have just let him push me, like, over the mountains or something. Far enough away that I could just run. I should have saved my teleport potion for the next encounter, but I didn't. And the next encounter screwed me. But yeah, I would say this was a decent learning experience. I'm still, like, trying to get used to dealing with the skeleton archers. Or here they come again. So they start pushing to the left, and there's a mountainside over. So here again, probably what I should have done is I should have gotten on their right side and just let them push me to the right. Is what I should have done. But instead, I was like super insistent on defeating these guys. And look, oh, look, now there's more. Like, honestly, if I am a class that can't climb mountains and or swim well, I should not be concerned with killing these guys. I should just avoid them whenever I can and let them push me to safety rather than push me to the barrier. I was trying to go around them, but it didn't work. The funny thing is, like, they can't fight me in a fair fight. I mean, they can't beat me in a fair fight, but they just push me into the barrier to win. So you gotta be prepared for that. It's kind of a cheesy strat, and this is something that doesn't exist in One Way Heroics Plus, so. But they decided to get a little bit more wild with the Stray Chronicles version, so that's fine. I like both versions, blah blah blah. There's stuff to appreciate or dislike about both games. Differences, blah blah blah. Anyway, so I was playing some level head. I was showing off one of my levels. Because playing my own level for a little bit, practicing. I was playing a level, I guess, from the Tower Trial. Oh, I was trying to do well in the Tower Trial, wasn't I? Honestly, this was a pretty fun day. I'm tempted to step up the number of times I stream level ahead each day, because I've really been enjoying my streams of it. Obviously, I don't really get the best viewer counts on it, but if I stream relatively long at it, I guess I could get some views. Anyways, this was me building a new level here, or just experimenting and trying to figure out what I'd want to do with my in the core spot, or whatever we're calling this thing, workshop. I had a buddy there, but then I moved it more to the right. I had a bunch of different ideas and stuff. Eventually, I ended up being satisfied with how the stuff works. And then this section, it took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do with this section. Yeah, I have like rockets that could potentially push the player into the fire thingies, which is pretty scary. I'm like, okay, after this point we're gonna need a buddy, so let's get a buddy up there. And after that, we're pretty much done with the building for the moment, and go back to playing Tower Trials or whatever it was I was doing. Yeah, definitely Tower Trial. This level was pretty fun. I liked it, to be honest. This is my kind of level. You can collect gems. It is a somewhat linear progression, but you do kind of travel all over, so it's kind of like a traditional platformer, basically, I would say. You get to use a ripcord, and ripcord's really fun power. But anyways, I was trying to score a really good time, so I had to like do the run again, basically, because my time wasn't. Look at that. I had like 21 minutes. It took me 21 minutes, and like a lot of those minutes were used on the last level. Look at that. It only took me 40 seconds to beat my level. It took me like, what was that, 12 minutes for his level or something? Like, used up more time beating this level than I was allowed for the entire run. But it's a hard level, and it was fun. And it felt worth it. This level might have been a fewer level. I think it was. Yeah, N2 Orth. N2 Orth has, I guess he's just, at least for now anyway, sending me levels that other people build rather than his own. I don't imagine he builds much levels, if any, but he definitely likes to speedrun the game. Definitely enjoys playing it, so more power to him. I definitely appreciate him hanging out. A lot of streamers will not hang out with the smaller streamers, but N2 Orth decided to do that, and I appreciate it. This room was pretty interesting, and this might have been another suggestion. He was showing off some input switch stuff, possibly because he noticed my input switch level and wanted to potentially give me more ideas or something. I think what might have been happening was, I wonder if it had something to do with the price blocks, to be honest. So I was getting confused because there's some wildfire in an enclosure, and there's a few of these purple markers inside the walls, but some of them don't really have anything there from what I can tell. But one of them does, and it has the wildfire there. The wildfires, see right there. You might have seen those two disappear. They disappeared over the purple thing was. but the other purple things don't have the same effect. So yeah, I was getting confused, but eventually we figured it out. And then I kind of like dropped the desert level idea that I had and started working on something else. So sometimes I do like to work on more than one thing at a time. I feel like it helps me to just stay moving with projects. It's just bouncing between them. Allows me to take breaks from projects that like let me sleep on them and decide what to do with them later. So I ended up putting in some spikes and stuff. Kind of decided to make this be kind of like a power up level. Sometimes I end up leaving power ups out of the experience. I didn't want to do that this time. I think this is actually a daily build. Yeah, this is a daily build with lots of enemies. So I figured I should finish a daily build that has lots of things. It might not be the easiest thing to find that closure, so I decided to put in a secret eye. But I decided to only have the secret eye be on a held trigger. So that way when you leave, you still have to figure out how to get inside. So that'll be interesting to see if that works out. And I spent a little bit of time playing something, I guess. A few levels of something or another. Anyway, that was Levelhead. There's just one more highlight. So I was playing some Pokemon cards too just yesterday, because like I was kind of behind on trying to get my packs for Chilling Reign. It's kind of annoying, but you actually have to play the game if you want to like get free cards. So these free to play stuff. Anyway, I actually had a fun time with my Chandelure deck for the most part. I had to change it, and I accidentally played one game more than I was supposed to with the version that I had last finished editing on July 4th. So I've made a new one on the 18th here. The new one is a little bit more focused. I actually took the Houndours and Houndooms out of the new version entirely, I believe. Replaced them with the Mag Cargos. Not sure if it makes it ultimately better or worse, but overall I think it's pretty fun. Just able to, like, I think I might even have a version where maybe I was thinking about taking Malo out of the deck. I ended up leaving him in there. Anyway, the cool thing about this deck is you can like you get your Chandelures out and then you start benching stuff as the Chandelures. I think that's really cool. Another thing I should consider doing for this deck though is I should consider putting in like Green's Exploration, and I can like grab a single rare candy and an evolution incense. And you can use both of those to evolve a Litten into Chandelure immediately. Because that would like get you a Chandelure nice and fast, compared to like Ball Guy, for example. So, I don't know. Right now, the deck has 2 Nest Balls, 2 Level Balls, and 2 Repeat Balls. I think the Repeat Ball is a pretty good option. Anyway, there's a lot of different ideas I could do to tweak the deck. But it's pretty good. It's decently fast, but sometimes it struggles a little bit. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let's close that. Well, that's all the highlights. So moving forward, after I finish World of Final Fantasy, I might decide to stream some Pokemon. I mean, what about that to lose? I haven't ever streamed Pokemon, so I should at least give it a chance. And complete Pokemon, and after that, if we're not able to build any kind of loyal RPG followership, then we're just gonna fellowship, or what we're calling it. If by the time that's done, we still haven't done anything worthwhile with yeah. So yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I'm going to play one more RPG basically on stream after World of Final Fantasy. That's gonna be Pokemon Sword or Shield. I don't think it really matters which one I pick up. I don't think it hardly ever does. I mean, some of the Pokemon could be different, but I don't mind too much about that. Sometimes you can just trade, get to whatever you want anyway. So maybe I'll just flip a coin or something. I don't know. Anyways, what am I trying to say? So I'll do that, and if it doesn't work out, then we'll lean more into what people are actually watching, which is the platform designing and the card playing. Right now, those are definitely my most watched content. So if you guys appreciate one of my types of content, consider checking out some of my other content. If you don't like it, that's cool, but I would definitely appreciate if you guys at least checked it out sometimes. Um, I'm going to be trying to do reruns. If you guys have suggestions for reruns, let me know what they are. I'm not always going to run them when I should, but the idea of reruns is to give my channel more exposure, so you get more people following. And the more people following, there's a better chance that people might actually show up to the stream when I'm streaming. So yeah, if there are games that you want to watch over again or sessions in me gaming, let me know. Like if you want to watch Super Mario Maker 2 development, watch me play some RPG again, whatever it is, let me know. I've been doing StarCraft reruns. I'll probably do a StarCraft rerun marathon today. We did like the first two episodes recently as reruns, so maybe we could do one or two more today or something. I'm not sure how many reruns we want to run. These StarCraft episodes are kind of long because it's like 8 to 10 missions each time, and the missions can take a while with the briefings, the outros and stuff. Just playing the campaign in general. Anyway, I'm definitely enjoying it, and we might, depending on how Pokemon turns out. If Pokemon turns out decently and we're actually having people follow along with the story with me, then I may stream StarCraft 2 as well. The campaign, I mean, because I feel like I would like to stream the StarCraft 2 campaign, but I would like there to be some interest in it, and I don't know if we're going to be getting that or not, because it feels like we're probably not going to be getting interest in it. Because like when I streamed StarCraft, there wasn't really interest in it at the time, so there probably won't be any for StarCraft 2 unless we actually get an audience that wants to watch the story-related stuff on this channel, which might not ever happen. So we'll see what happens with Pokemon Sword and Shield. I kind of want to play another Pokemon game just to see if it's actually good or not. Might not necessarily be particularly worth the money, but some people claim it is. Some people claim it's a very fun game, so I suppose I'll enjoy it. And if I don't, then you guys, you'll know. You'll know. I'll I'll do. I need to do more YouTube videos, review some of these RPG games, talk about if they're actually good or not, and why they are or are not good, or bad or whatever. And like what are the pros and cons to actually playing them and stuff. Because there are definitely some cons to playing World of Final Fantasy. I gotta admit, like especially like as you're coming up towards the sad ending and all that, like the battle system just gets really boring after a certain point. But maybe there's a way for me to mix that up a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. I might start trying to use champion medals moving forward. Like, couldn't you use more than one during a battle in theory? In some of these long battles, like there's still like some experimentation that hasn't been done yet, as well as like we can use extra large monsters. Like I just captured a Leviathan, which is presumably quite powerful, but the thing of it is I have to actually level it up, or it's not actually going to be powerful. So that might take some time. So I guess there might be a little bit of grinding if you want to have your battles be a little bit more flexible. And it's funny, like we've been running the White Neck and the Mega Shark Hall stack for ages, and haven't changed it at all. And that's got to add a little bit of monotony to the experience of watching me play, I would imagine. But I mean, Pokemon can kind of get like that sometimes, I guess. Like sometimes, if you want to speed run a game, you just run the same Pokemon, right? In the Pokemon games, you just use the same Pokemon for all your battles, and you just sweep everything with that one Pokemon. So it's kind of like what I'm doing in World of Final Fantasy. I'm just being loyal to certain Pokemon, just keep leveling them up. There's definitely some parallel, but with that said, I'm probably going to try to make the Pokemon experience as interesting as possible. So I'm probably try to avoid speedrunning it, because I think that'll add to the entertainment value. Or by speedrunning, I mean like casual speedrunning, right? Obviously, I hope that was obvious. Anyways, I'm done talking. We've already shown off all the highlights. This video's done. Thanks guys for tuning in. Catch you next week.